let's go over the delivery kit. This is the kind of stuff that you will get when you pick up your hearing aids. You of course have your hearing aids, either 1 or 2. There is a way to tell. If you look on the end here, you've got either a blue or a red tip. Red is for right, blue is for left. So you'll always be able to see that speaker right there and know which one is which. They also fit kind of like shoes. It's hard to put the left hearing aid on the right ear because this wire kind of points inside. So this is for the left. If I try to put it on the right side, then it's going to be pointing out the wrong way. So obviously you don't want to put it in the wrong ear. That's going to twist it all around. So always be looking for that blue or red right there, or checking to see that they fit kind of like shoes. One of the things that you will get is a drying jar, and inside this jar are these little beads, and these beads pull out moisture from the air. So anytime you've got the hearing aids inside the jar with that disc inside, it's going to make sure that the hearing aid stays nice and dry, because they are subjected to things like humidity and sweat and just environmental things that you're going to be in contact with on a daily basis. So the way to do this is to open the battery door all the way. You want to make sure it's all the way open. A lot of people do say to take the battery out. These batteries are air activated. They don't always like dry air, but for the most part they don't lose a lot of battery power when they're in there, so I'm not really concerned about that as much as I am making sure that battery door is all the way open. So when you put it in there and just keep your lid on there overnight, that's going to make that hearing aid get nice and dry. If there's any moisture inside the battery compartment or the hearing aid shell, these beads are going to pull it out. Never keep the drying jar inside your bathroom or anything like that. That is a very humid place, and we don't want those beads to pull out any unnecessary moisture from the air. There are directions back here on how to rejuvenate these beads. These beads, in this case, you've got different jars, different ways of drying out the hearing aids. This particular jar has beads that are a yellowish orange color. Anytime those beads turn a dark green, then they are full of moisture. So you would take this disc right there and just put that in the microwave with the screen side up. So that way, as the microwave boils all the water inside the beads, it gets out from these screen holes right there. That means that this can be used over and over again. If you overcook these in the microwave, or if you have them upside down, it is going to melt some of the plastic and burn those beads up, and you would have to get them replaced. But there's directions back here on how to do that, so you can always see what you need to do there. So that's the drying jar. You obviously get some batteries with the hearing aids. You've got different colors. Yellow is a size 10, 312 is a brown, and orange is a size 13. So you can always shop by color or number. Even if you're unsure what size battery you have, that little sticker on there will let you know what size battery you need. A lot of people will take the sticker off of one of these and they will put it on their driver's license or somewhere that is easy to see. That way, if they forget which hearing aid battery they need, they can look at that little colored sticker. Once you take the sticker off the batteries, it's best to wait about 5 minutes before you put that battery inside the hearing aid. These are air-activated batteries, and that 5 minutes gives them time to get up to full power. You also get a delivery kit, and inside the kit you do have some batteries down here. Usually a 4-pack, 6-pack, something like that, depending on where you go, but it should always be the size that your hearing aid is going to take, obviously. You've got a cleaning tool, because the hearing aids need to be checked for wax on a daily basis. Right down inside of here, that's where all the sound is coming out, right in the center there. So if you've got wax down inside of there, it's hard for the sound to get out, and you could replace the battery 5 or 6 times and say it still doesn't work right, and that's because it's not the battery's problem, it's the fact that there's too much wax down inside of here, and so the sound is not able to come out. So on this little cleaning tool, you've got a metal hoop end right there, you've got a little magnet right there, and you got a brush right there. Hard to see, let's see. little brush. So the metal hoop end is the best to use, excuse me, for removing wax from that tiny hole right there. You can use it kind of like a shovel, just kind of reach in and pull out any wax that's there. Always make sure this piece, which is called a dome or a tip, make sure that's all the way on before you put it in your ear again, because sometimes even cleaning it will pull this off to a certain degree and you don't want it to come off inside your ear, obviously. So just make sure that is on every time you're getting ready to put it in. But once you remove the wax, you should be able to look down inside and kind of see that there's some little holes down there, so you know that the wax is removed. The brush end can be used underneath the dome right there just to get all that stuff off. Back over here, you've got a microphone towards the top of the hearing aid, and you've got a microphone that's in the center, and you want to brush those off to make sure that the microphones are clear of any kind of debris, so that way the hearing aid can listen and amplify those sounds that you need. And then it has a little magnet right there, and the magnet is helpful because most of the time when you open the battery door, the batteries don't really fall out that easily. Of course, this one's going to. But you can use that magnet to kind of push from the back side to get that battery to fall out. And then it usually helps to pick it up that way too, because if it falls on the floor, it's a little hard to find that battery for a lot of people. So the little magnet will help to get that battery. There's only one way to put the battery in. If you put the battery in upside down, which is kind of tough to do, this door will not shut. And if you force it, that door is going to fly off. So obviously you don't want to do that. Make sure the battery goes in the proper way. Because as long as the battery door swings like this, then you know you've got it in there correctly. If the battery door is all the way closed, it's on. If you just crack it like that, you'll feel it kind of click right there. That'll turn it off, but it'll keep the battery from using any extra power. And then obviously all the way open turns it off as well. On the back, you've got these two buttons. The top button, which is near the little hook right there, the little bend, the top one always makes the volume get louder. All you do is tap the button. Every time you tap it, you'll hear beeps down here letting you know that the volume is being increased. The bottom button, the beeps sound different, and you tap that and that'll let you know that the volume is going down. Anytime you take the top button and hold it for a couple seconds, you're either going to hear the word Adro or the word Lucid, and either of those two things mean that the hearing aid is on and it's at 50% volume. And chances are, if you've got the 96 channel hearing aid, you're always going to hear the word Lucid. And if you hold the top button down for a couple seconds till it says Lucid, within 1 or 2 seconds in your other ear, it's also going to say Lucid, because those two hearing aids work together and they keep the volume the same on each side. So tapping the buttons changes the volume. Holding down the button will reset the volume back to 50%. Some people have more than one program. Lucid or Adro, that's called a program. If you've got an older hearing aid that also has a noisy program, when you hold down the button, it would say noisy, and you'd be in the noisy program to help you hear in loud places. That would also reset the volume back to 50%. And then you hold it again, it'll say Adro, and that'll put you back in the Adro program at 50%. So either of those two words, when you hear it, you're at 50% volume. We were on batteries a second ago, so you also get a battery holder. Nice keychain to keep a couple extra batteries in there. That way when you're out and about, if you hear it say low battery, that means you've got about 1 hour of battery life left. And that keychain is a good way to make sure that you always have some with you. You've got a couple books in here. One of them is going to be about your specific style of hearing aid. So it's going to have instructions on changing the battery, changing the program, changing the volume, cleaning it, all these types of things. So you'll see all that in there. Should have one of our business cards as well. There's another booklet that comes in. It's called Important Hearing Aid Information. This is general information about using hearing aids. One of my favorite lines in here is right there. Keep a positive, realistic attitude. We know that hearing aids do not replace natural hearing. It's not a replicant for normal hearing. People with normal hearing are probably still going to hear better than you. You should feel with hearing aids like you're almost normal though, because you're going to hear so many things that you haven't heard in a long time. but this little booklet right there just covers general information on all hearing aid styles, things to do to take care of them and what to expect, cleaning them and things like that. And from me, you'll obviously get a Superhero Stories YouTube announcement, which if you're watching this video, you already know that it's there. You got my address, email address on the back, so that way you can add it to your safe list in your email inbox, so you get those emails letting you know when new videos are there, or you can hit the subscribe button at the bottom of this video, and that will allow you to get some emails when new videos are posted, and I try to keep them current, obviously. So that's the kit right there. Sometimes you'll get inside the kit one of these things, and this is the little white cap is called a wax guard, and down under here, that little white cap right there is a wax guard, and so you would use the blank end to reach in and snap that old wax guard out, flip this around and put the new wax guard in. And sometimes when you have tried cleaning this out and it still just won't get clean enough, we need to change that wax guard. The reason that I haven't been doing this for a long time is they changed the style of wax guard, and so the little sticks have different sizes on them, and if you try to put the wrong one in to remove an old wax guard, but it's not the wax guard that goes with this stick, it'll actually break this plastic area that houses the speaker. And it's kind of a pain in the butt, and it's probably going to take a couple years before all the old style wax guards are out of the system. So I don't want people breaking these things, so I've been changing them in the hearing aid center, and that's not a big deal. And if you want us to talk about that on your next visit and get you some of these sticks to take with you so you can do it on your own, that's fine. I just want to make sure that on day one we're not going over so much information that it's almost overwhelming, because that's kind of confusing. And the last thing that you're going to get is a treatment plan. Obviously this is 2016, but the year doesn't really matter because all the information inside should stay the same. We've got a little sticky note down here that you can put on your bathroom mirror to make sure that you remember to take the hearing aids out before you get in the shower. If you do get them wet, take them off, use a Kleenex just to dry them off, open the battery door and put them in the drying jar, and I would say for about 24 hours if you can do it, to make sure that if there was any moisture penetration that it got out by using this jar. These hearing aids are water resistant, not waterproof. So you can use the drying jar to make sure that if there was any potential moisture damage, that you take care of that by getting them nice and dry. So the treatment plan covers information on how we're going to work together to make sure that these hearing aids work the way that you need them to work. There's a few paragraphs right here that kind of discuss what that means. Basically, it's going to say, if you don't wear them, we don't know what we need to do to make them better. If you don't come in and see me, I don't know what I need to do to make them better for you. Some people get a lot of feedback and they're convinced that the hearing aid is the problem, and usually it's the fit, the way that the hearing aid fits. Either this tip isn't right, or there's too much wax in the ear canal, or there's a broken piece. It's rarely the programming inside the hearing aid that's the problem. And I just want to kind of let people know about that. If you get a lot of feedback, check the fit, make sure that that's fitting properly. But that's one of the things that we would talk about during your visits, because what this also says is that we're going to set up future visits to make sure that things do go well for you. So we're going to schedule a 1-week visit, a 2-week visit, and then a 4-week visit. And we're going to write them in to make sure that you know that you've got those times set, because if we see you, we can make things better. And normally, the first visit, we take care of a few things. The second visit, we might take care of 1 or 2 things. And on the third visit, which is 30 days in, there's probably 50% of the people don't even need to come in for that visit. They'll call me the day before and say, things are working well. I don't really know what I can do to make them better, because we've taken care of them in the first couple of visits. That doesn't mean we won't need that visit. We might need extra visits along the way. We don't charge for office visits, so please come in if you feel like there's a problem. Just, I would say, give me a call ahead of time. The calendar can be kind of tricky, and some days I can have nobody scheduled, and other days I can have a full calendar. So make sure if you need to come in, you just let me know so we can find a day and time that works for both of us. But this sets realistic expectations. I know that when you walk out of the hearing center, the hearing aid might sound great. It might sound perfect. But once you get in your car or your house or your living room where the TV is on and people are talking, or if you go out to a restaurant, or you go to church, or you're using the telephone, anything can change the way that these hearing aids sound. And we want to look for a common denominator and make sure that if there's a problem, we figure out what the solution is, and we do that by coming in for these follow-up visits. The last page has got some homework. On your first visit, which would be 7 days after you buy the hearing aids, it's about 7 days, it's about 2 weeks, it's about 30 days. We work on your availability. But on the first visit, you're going to bring back this sheet. It's got some yes or no questions over here. And all of these things you should notice are as good or better than it was before you got the hearing aids. So if everything is as good or better, then just circle yes to say, yep, that's a pretty good situation right there. And if any of these things are worse or show no improvement, then circle no, and that'll tell us what we need to work on. You got some space down here to take some notes if there's anything that's maybe not on here. And if there's anything in here you don't get exposed to, like you don't go to church in the first week or you don't watch TV in the first week, obviously you can't answer that question. Don't worry about it, it's not a big deal. But this sheet right here, these are the things that most people say that they have an issue with in their first visit, that if there's going to be an issue, it's going to be something on this list. There might be something else, but these cover the most general topics. Sometimes without this sheet, people say everything is great, and then a day later they call up and say, oh, I need to come in because I forgot about this one thing. Well, this is going to cover a lot of that stuff, so definitely bring that sheet back with you. But that's it. This is everything that you would get and how we tackle all those things. So if you have any questions, obviously just let me know. At any point in time, you can email, you can call, you can stop in if you're shopping, and we can tackle all those things. But we do all this stuff to try to get people set up for success. If you want to get hearing aids and you end up buying hearing aids, I want you to be successful. You're not out there talking about me and telling other people good stuff if you're not happy with how the hearing aids are performing. That's what this really does, is make sure that it gives us the opportunity to find issues that you're having and take care of them. So thank you for watching Superhero Stories, and I look forward to seeing you in the club.